Good morning, Stylish here. Today I'm gonna create my own system because I'm getting ready to run a long campaign and I feel like I need it. So I'm gonna take the best out of D&D, Daggerheart, Nimble, all those cool systems that I know, and I'm gonna put something together. Before we start, here's a short glimpse of the end result. I'm gonna create a character in 60 seconds and you can see how it goes. Devlin is going to be our signature spy girl. Her signature thing is agility. She's also quite witsy. She's charismatic and she's cool under pressure. All right. Then experiences, she's a spy, so +2 to that, and she's also a thief. Maybe she used to be a thief. She is also very good at sweet talking people. All right, and then we can pick a card, and let's say she's gonna be martial artist. So she will use agility in close combat instead of strength. By the way, strength may be her weak spot, so she will have -1 there, and therefore a very little health pool. But hey, that's her. All done. The plan for today is first, explain a little bit why I'm doing this at all, why another system. Then I'm gonna go through those systems that I mentioned and list what I like, what I don't like. And this is also going to be useful for you. Like if you agree with the likes and dislikes, the end system that I will create here today is probably going to be suitable for you as well, if you have the same perspective. So check out this part. Once I have that, I'm gonna put all the good stuff together into nice system. I'm gonna talk a little bit about balancing because I already prepared a little bit ahead of time, and then we're gonna jump into dry run, just making some characters or remaking characters from different systems. At the end, I am going to improvise a little bit of a dry run combat as well. Let's go. So why homebrew another system? The very simple answer is some things I like and some things I don't in pretty much every system I encountered. Like, I check something out. Oh yeah, I get excited about this system. And then, few sessions later, or maybe even immediately, something else bothers me. Like, nah, this is not really the way it should be. And then I jump onto another system and another. And you can just jump between systems forever, or you can just put together the things you do like. You can homebrew your own rules. I'm gonna homebrew my own system, and that's it. I will no longer have this tough choice when coming up which system am I actually going to use. All right, so likes and dislikes. Let's see. Starting with the classic D&D 5e. It's no secret I am not a fan of D&D. So there's ability scores and modifiers. Why keep both, right? The character creation is so restrictive. Like you only have these classes and you only have these backgrounds, and it's not really a problem for me when I'm GMing, because I can just say, hey, come up with your own stuff, right? But then, it's like, if I'm building my own system, I don't want this to be so restrictive. The combat really sucks in D&D. It's slow. It's just, every time I try to use a spell, it turns out, I cannot use it because of something like concentration, blah, blah, blah. Spell slots also are awkward, like, so limiting. And then, I would prefer mana better. And the learning curve for D&D is just super huge. There's like so much stuff to read, like, before you even create your character. And then when you create your character, it turns out not to work the way you expected. And it's like, no, I want to be able to just jump in and have fun. And, all this, some people like, but it's so rewarding when you finally learned it. That's not for me. that's not the way I look at this. The one thing I do like at D&D is the expertise, like, you know, when you have something that you're really actually good at it. So, and you get like a really meaningful bonus to your rolls. Although, you know, meaningful is also relative. Like, you know, you roll d20 and your bonus is only +4. That's like, you know, less than 20% something of chance. When you're really good, like your expertise, you have, you know, you're an expert at something and you only get 20%, less than 20% more chance to succeed at something. That sucks. So, yeah. But, you know, D&D has a lot of good content, and I would like this to be easily importable. So we'll get onto that. All right, so the next best thing I found, or maybe the best thing I found, is Daggerheart, right? You know, I really like, you know, the abilities are straight up modifiers, right? And there's not much counting. It's like, you know, +2, +3. So that's good. The cards are awesome. Like, you know, creating a character by selecting the cards, it's just so practical. Like, I can print them and put them on the desk. I love it. The stress mechanic is also quite good. It's like a fuel that you can, you know, some spells use it. It's like mana as well. Yeah. And or maybe should I say exhaustion? Like, the more exhausted you are, the more stressed you are. I'm kinda I will import stress mechanic there. Again, there's a lot of good content in Daggerheart that I would like to just be able to borrow. Like, you know, take Daggerheart cards and just use it in my own system. Straight up. That would be great. And then also, one of the best things in Daggerheart are the experiences. Like, you can name anything. Like, that could be like, you know, your past job, or some specific skill that you're really good at it, or some, you know, even the catchphrases, that which I kind of struggle with how to use catchphrases, but still, you know, experiences is a good thing that I will definitely borrow. But Daggerheart, again, after a few times, actually I played Daggerheart for quite a long time, and there are downsides. Too few abilities. Like, you know, there's only like 6, and then, you know, witty doesn't mean perceptive, right? So why, if I noticed something, why do I need to use wisdom? That's awkward. It's like, you know, some legacy from D&D that got stuck in this system. I would like to get rid of that one, you know. And then can't get hope. So, you know, if you have any abilities that require hope to function, but you're just unlucky with the dice rolls, you just can't get it any other way. Like, no, I don't like the hope mechanic. And then, you know, the scale also is a little bit off. Like, you roll 2d12s. That means you get results from 2 to up all the way up to 24. So if you get +2 on your ability, which is, this is, you know, the better one, it's like less than 10% chance to your roll. That matters way too less. Like, there's too much randomness. So that's I would like to fix. And then the spotlight, you know, instead of using the initiative in combat, that is confusing. And also, if you have a quiet player, he will just sit there, not do anything, and everybody else will be jumping over each other. And so introverts will hate it. And I'm an introvert and I hate it. So I prefer to have something more standard. So spotlight will be going away. Another system I saw recently is Nimble. It's now when I'm recording this is on Kickstarter. I couldn't get a full book yet, but I saw some PDFs online with just the basics of the system, and I really like it. The combat is great. Like, you know, it's non-restrictive. It's very tactical. You get those 3 actions, and the initiative is like how many actions do you get on the first turn. It's like represents how surprised you are. At the same time, I love pretty much every aspect of the combat, and I will be borrowing the whole thing. Also, I like that the character creation in Nimble is quite simple, but it's, you know, as a whole system, it's still not perfect. You know, it only has like 4 attributes, and that's way too few. I think I would like to have more variety there. So, and also, you know, once you have your 4 attributes, you just have a fixed list of skills that you need to just copy all the attributes. Why? So just, you know, instead of copying it to all the skills, why just, you know, just list the skills that you're actually better than the usual. And if it's usual, just use the attribute, right? That would be simpler. So having a fixed list of skills is like, you know, too many on one hand, because, you know, I would rather just focus on the ones that are actually meaningful for my character. But then also too few. If I have a character in mind that is good at something very specific, and that is not on the list of the skills, then I also have, you know, it's difficult to make that character in that game. So it's both too many and too few. I just don't like the fixed list, you know, of skills. No. So experiences, far better. So you know, using experiences as also skills from Daggerheart. Just focus on the ones that you're actually exceptionally good, and leave everything else to your attributes. That would be better. And this is what we're gonna build. And also, you know, there are classes which are good. They have some mechanics in them, which is nice. It's easy to level up. It's straight up. Every level brings something. It's all good stuff, right? But I don't like the concept of classes, you know, in general at all. Like, you know, it is always limiting you in some way. You only have those classes, nothing else, right? So if I would like to open this to any class idea, then, you know, maybe I will have a list of example classes, but it will not be a closed environment like, you know, in D&D you only have those classes, nothing else, right? And you know, you want to homebrew something, and GMs always like don't want that. You know, I've been very unlucky. So anyway, I would like just to be able to just create like a mechanic I like, and just make my own class whenever I do something and it's not standard. This is a problem everywhere, right? The classes in Nimble are cool, but I don't like the whole idea of classes. So let's move on. Vampire is a slightly different system, but it still has very cool stuff. So dice pools. So you build a dice pool of d10s, and you know the better you are at something, the more dice you roll. It's like so satisfying to roll many dice, and you just feel like, yeah, I'm so good at it. I would definitely like dice pools. And then, you know, all those merits, like, you know, the small things that are actually meaningful differentiators for your character, right? Similarly, flows. You know, flows are also bringing flavor and sometimes challenge. And challenge is good because it makes the game more interesting. So I like that. There's a lot of good content in Vampire, like, you know, disciplines. And there's, you know, I would like to be able to use those. The hunger mechanic, you know, itself is very good. Like, you know, it's also like mana. You know, hunger is also like mana. It's like, you know, general exhaustion for a vampire. I would like to have this to be more universal. Like, you know, hey, vampires is one thing, right? But what about werewolves, or maybe some, I don't know, robots, androids, something else? You know, I would like this to be like, you know, universal exhaustion something stress mechanic. And there's also the skill specialities in vampire. So again, they have like a fixed list of skills, but you can get the speciality onto a specific skill. Like, you know, you're brawling, but your speciality is to grapple somebody, right? And you get extra dice for when you try to grapple. And why not just do just that? Just you do your specialities and let them add your extra dice. This is what I would like to have. So dislikes about vampire, like, but the combat is too fluffy. Let's say non-tactical combat. Like it's a bit of like, you know, you win or you lose. It's, you can describe it's nice, but I still like having a map and thinking about the distance and you know, thinking how much can I do in my turn. This is still good thing. So that's it's like my personal preference. I like that challenge of tactical combat, and I would like to have that. So, and vampire doesn't do this for me. So there's too many specific attributes, like, you know, composure, resolve, manipulation. It's like all those things. This whole system is geared towards social more, which is, well, yeah, it's good for vampire, but that's not exactly what I'm aiming at. Again, fixed list of skills, I talked about that. And, you know, to focus on one creature type, like it's just the vampires. Like, what if I want to have like witches and, you know, demons and whatever else comes up, right? I would like this to be more universal, not just hunger. So, and then there's also too few spells. I think, you know, the variety I get in D&D and Daggerheart, I like that better. Yeah. So, but then I would like to be able to create a vampire in my system, and that should feel like a vampire and work like a vampire. And but then the system should also cater for all other kinds of aliens and stuff, right? So, and the last one on this list is Alien. I didn't play Alien much, so probably I missed all the good stuff. But the things I noticed is those specialities that I like. Again, a dice pool, I like it. And the thing that the stress adds additional risk, like, you know, the stress dice bring you the possibility of failing critically. That's definitely something I'm gonna take. But they also, you know, if you're most stressed, sometimes it can fire, you know, in a positive way, and you will get an extra chance for a success. So stress dice, yep, definitely gonna be in there. What I disliked is, again, it's focused on that one setting about aliens, you know, so I don't want that limit. If I'm flying into space, I want to be able to play Alien, but I want to be able to play Firefly, Star Trek, wherever, right? So I want this not to be limited on one setting strictly. And again, fixed list of skills. Again, too few attributes. So let's move on to the good stuff, right? So I gathered here all the good stuff I mentioned before, like from Daggerheart, Vampire, Nimble, Alien. This is all the stuff, right? So now I'm trying to put only the best things together. So abilities being modifiers, definitely we're gonna have that. The experiences instead of skills, right? So those will be only the best of skills or your specialities. This will be a list that you can create and have like extra modifiers that will work. Also, the modifiers should matter, right? So if I get +2, it should not add me like, you know, 10%. It should add me 50%, right? I really want to feel that my character is really good at something, right? Dice pool, of course, we're gonna get that. We're gonna get stress dice, yes, and the cards, the cards could represent all the merits or flaws, but also mechanics. And I'm thinking, like, if I want to play a vampire, I will have a card with describing vampire mechanic with something like hunger and feeding, and that you don't heal, you need to drink blood to heal, right? If I want to play an android, I will need to charge instead of sleep, right? So yeah, those will be the cards. And then tactical combat from Nimble, definitely. So let's go into details. So starting with abilities. So taking from D&D, strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, right? That's the standard, I would say, the historical standard. Daggerheart has something more like, they instead of dexterity have agility, but also finesse. So they kind of split this into two. And I'm thinking, maybe that's a little bit too much. So instead of dexterity, agility, I'm just gonna merge them all together into one agility, which will sometimes mean that you're more dexterous and you run faster, all that stuff. Strength is kind of 1-to-1. It's just gonna happen, right? I'm just gonna skip the constitution altogether. There's intelligence. I would rather call it wits, because it's like wisdom, intelligence, they kind of overlap for me. Are you that bright and sharp mind? Having a sharp mind, that this is what it will represent. But having a sharp mind doesn't mean you're perceptive. Perception is something else. Like it's not wisdom. Which I really hate in all those systems. Like, no. So being perceptive is being open to external input in a better way, and I recognize this as being slightly completely different. I know people that are very witty, but they couldn't see a bus, running out to them. Yeah, so perception will be something separate. Charisma goes straight up. There's, also like using intelligence for knowledge doesn't actually apply. You can be very intelligent, but you can not know about something specifically, and you will need to just on the fly come up with like deduce and like analyze things in order to carry yourself. So I'd say knowledge is something else. So this knowledge from Daggerheart, I really get this, why they make it knowledge and not intelligence, and I like this. Actually, I'm gonna go a step further. I call it just lore. So being knowledgeable about things, and sometimes it's if we are in space, it may be lore about technicality and space travel. If we are in fantasy setting, it may be lore about deities and magic, something. So lore in general, I would say, and you can then use experiences in specific area to buff it up even more. So the alien had empathy, which this is something that I would rather like have the players showing with their role play instead of this being a stat. If you put like, oh yeah, I put high empathy and then I murder the entire village, it's so empathy should be role played, not a stat. That's my view. Then vampire had this composure, resolve, and I just being composed is not being witty. It's also not being charismatic. It's its own thing. So I would say we're gonna have cool, which will represent that composure, the staying cool under pressure. Yeah, that thing is gonna have its own. Okay, so the experiences. I've talked a little bit about that, and I think you see by now where I'm going with this. So only the skills that really do matter. Like this could be like past jobs. I have been a bodyguard, so I will know all the things that bodyguards would know, right? Your expertise. This is like, I'm master thief or something, lockpicker. So whatever you put in there should matter. So and I'm thinking now you have experience +1, +2, +3, but like I don't want to go into like numbers like 15, right? So if I have +1, that means I'm actually good at it, and it matters, right? If I have +2, I'm so good that people could identify with it, right? So like oh yeah, he's the computer geek, right? So you need to do something with computers, just ask him, yeah, right? And if you go with this scale, like +3 should be like almost like famously good, like people that you don't know maybe already heard about you because you're famously good at something. You're the best sniper in the army, right? And yeah, and those skills should really matter. So if they add dice, they should add really significant amount of dice. So getting into the dice pool, so d6, I'm thinking d6 like that. D6 are most available. It's easier to find around the house, but it's also sufficient for this system. And this is actually a choice made because I did some probability calculations earlier, and I wanted the probability to work right. So if we have like an average Joe has +0 to everything, right? He has average skills, average abilities, so he will have like, let's say, 1 die to roll. And average Joe is not so good, so that's like 30% chance if we take d6 and use 5 and 6 as a success, right? But if I have not so average Joe that has like +2 modifier because he has like +1 to his agility, and he also has a skill / experience that also works for him, then he's already good at something and he has some experience at something. He should have good chance of actually doing something, right? So if we have like 1 die plus attribute plus experience, so that will be 1 die +2 from his modifiers, and that's already 72% chance of rolling at least 1 success, right? And this is actually good. That's the curve I would like to have. So if we have someone really, really good, like, that's the strong guy. He also is like, bodybuilder, right? So if bodybuilder attempts to do something strength related, I really want him to succeed. So 91% chance that's fine, right? I really don't want to build a character that is like, has +2 strength and is a bodybuilder, and he won't be able to force open that door. that feels terrible every time like I build a character in D&D or Daggerheart, and the randomness of D20 or those 2D12 is so huge compared to the small +1 modifier that it doesn't really matter if you build them you know, strong or weak. You know, the only thing that matters, are you lucky at rolling dice? So yeah, I want to make a system that will give you better chances depending on your choices. So the choices should matter, right? And then the stress. So adding, like, you know, the more stress you have, the more chances of rolling a 1, right? And then you get complications. This is from Alien, right? I really like that mechanic. But then also, you know, having high stress sometimes can be positive, like it gives you an edge. So it should add a chance to success, but maybe not 5 and 6. So let's just shift the whole thing, and only 6 on a stress die also adds success, because you already have quite good chances usually. So that's the dice pool. Then we have the cards, and like I mentioned, you know, I want to import anything from all those other systems, so I just want to take the Daggerheart cards and just use them. So the only thing I would need to do is sometimes translate the attributes, like, you know, it's not going to be wisdom, it's going to be lore, or maybe it's going to be wits, or maybe it's going to be perception actually. All right, so translate it to the attributes that I like. And, you know, by the way, if you're watching this and you're thinking about building your own, just pick your own attributes. If you don't like the ones I suggested, just pick them. So translate to your own attributes, yeah, and then use stress as mana or hunger or whatever you're doing. So if we have a vampire, building a vampire card, I will actually use this as an example later. So vampire should have, like, you know, if you drink blood, you maybe reduce your stress or go straight into healing your HP, right? But if you want to use some blood magic, you will spend stress, get more stress as you're using more magic, and then you get more exhausted, and the chances increase of you actually failing at something because you're just so exhausted, right? That makes sense. So this is what I want. So, and then you can come up with all those cool mechanics that you would ever want. Like, you know, if you're playing an android, your stress may be representing the amount of, I don't know, power, energy that you're having, and you just get, you know, you get drained, and you fill up your stress track. That means you used all your energy you need to recharge, and you know, go into like low powered state. And if you're a human and you're so extra stressed, then yeah, you also need to relax and maybe have some fun. Well, and so the cards could be pretty much anything. It can be like this, you know, transformation cards in Daggerheart that you will tell you're a vampire or android or something, or maybe it's some specific mechanics like you're telepathic and you will be able to you know, make this roll to read somebody's thoughts or affect them somehow, right? Then combat. I'm just gonna borrow the whole thing from Nimble. Like, it's so good. I'm, you know, freshly inspired by combat in Nimble, so I'm just gonna try to borrow the whole thing, and later on maybe tweak it a little bit, like add additional actions that you could do. But for now, I'm just so hyped on this. I'm just gonna, yeah, take that entire thing. So finishing touches. We need to scale things. So HP, I'm thinking, you know, taking that from Daggerheart, like they have 6 HP and stress at the beginning. But I like this to be connected a little bit to the attributes. So if I have, like, you know, very well built character, strong, and, you know, that guy should have a little bit more HP. And by a little bit I mean significantly more HP. So if you have +1 on strength, you should have 2 more, so 8 instead of 6, right? And the class, like, you know, some, you know, having a different class in Nimble, Daggerheart, D&D, that means you get more HP. I don't like that idea either. I think, you know, it's more dependent on your attributes than on what you do. Stress, that starts with 6 as well, but then, you know, your body is more resistant to stress when you're, you know, when you're more cool, then you can take more stress, right? If you're in good shape physically, your body can take more stress. That's true. And, you know, if you have a bright mind, you can sort through stress better as well. So I'm thinking adding all those 3. So if I have like one of those plus 1, I will have then 7 stress pool, right? Then speed, usually like in D&D it's like 6 spaces. I think it's the same in Nimble. It's a bit too much, I'd say. Like, you know, if I have high agility, I would like to this to matter more. So I would start with 5 actually, and then plus 1 for space, you know, or 5 feet, whatever, for every agility point. Then initiative. So I don't want to roll d20. I still want to roll a dice pool. So I'm thinking initiative will be a dice pool of 1. You roll 1d6. If you roll a success, you get an action on your first turn, right? But then if you have high perception or wits, then your sharp mind will, you either start sooner because your high perception notifies your brain that something is going on, or you're so quick thinking that you still get to do something, right? So I will add dice from perception and wits to that initiative roll, and you may end up having even 5 dice. Hey, if you're really buff on those, and then you can have like, 5 successes, but I don't think you're gonna get more. So I'm thinking this is gonna be cool. This is going to be a nice mechanic there. And people who actually choose to have high perception and put those precious, meaningful points in there, they will feel rewarded when they roll initiative. And I want that, yeah. Then, how much do we give at the beginning? And I was thinking, like, for starting attributes, you could like put plus 2 in your absolute best attribute. This is my best attribute of all, right? Your signature stuff. And then, 3 other attributes, because we have 8 attributes total, right? So 3 other attributes could be, you're also good in this, right? And maybe kind of not so sure about this, but it would be maybe good to have -1 at something as your weakness. Some people will like it, some people won't. I'm thinking this to be like optional for now, so let's make it optional. All right. Starting experiences, I'm thinking let's give people up to 5 points, and then when you level up, like, leveling up means you maybe get a point which you can spend on experience, or maybe a card, or maybe buffing up your attribute. But don't go too high. Like, +3 means already world famous, right? So if your attribute is +4, that's like superhuman strength. And you could also do that, like, if you play aliens, Superman, superheroes, something, then you could go all the way up to +4. But then, it's if someone really, if you have a player that really wants to like min-max something, okay, let them have it, because as you can see, we go back here, right? So with 1 die, it's little, and then with 2 dice, it jumps to like 60%, 50, 60%. With 3 die, you get over to 70, and it's like the curve is like this, right?
So if you have 4 dice and you buff it up to 7 dice, there's little difference, right? So if someone really tries to min-max you, the system will resist this. At least it will not break. The system will not break, but you know, buffing up one attribute has very much, you know, diminishing returns at some point. And then cards. I'm thinking this will be a tough one. So maybe sometimes one card, I am a vampire, right, will define the whole thing. Maybe sometimes you will have like 3 cards because it's just a merit, like, you know, I'm good looking and I'm, you know, stress resistant, and I'm gonna get like 2 extra stress points to my tracker. So cards will not be created equal. You need to use reason, right? But use those to really make your character unique. On to the test drive. Let's switch from here and go into Oracle and try to make a few characters with this and see how that works.
So let's take a D&D character. Maybe we'll take... okay, so this is a character I used to play so long ago when I was still trying to wrap my head around D&D. And it was so difficult to make a character that actually, you know, does what I wanted it to do. And so let's try to make her again. Let's say, okay, so strength is her weak spot, agility is her good thing, and then wits, not so much, so 0. Wisdom, lore, knowledge, not so much. Charisma, yeah. And cool, can't say. Perception, luck, you know. And maybe perception. She's gonna notice things. Much better, right? And then the experiences definitely need to change. So she's a thief. Now I'm thinking she's very similar to that other character I made, but anyway. She's also a sorcerer, so she's gonna know things about, let's say, Arcana, because she does. And then the other thing she definitely has done a lot was snooping. That's her strong stuff. Maybe let's add some more. Oh yeah, she's a witch, so that's gonna be potion brewing. Right, and that's gonna be also a strong point. So next we gonna, so she was also teleporting, so let's do that. And she was also telekinetic, so let's see if I have telekinesis. No, so let's make it. So that's gonna be like power, telekinesis, and here I will need to think a little bit, how do I want this to work, right? So tiny items without any effort. Let's say 5 kilograms. 5 kilograms plus, or, you know, weapons, stuff like that. Takes 1 stress to do so. And if it's like a, you know, human size push, that takes 2 stress. And, you know, you could imagine that this would need some more precise describing, probably. And depending on, you know, how your party rolls, how your player rolls, and what is your DM preference, you may need to write more specific rules, like, you know, you can push them that far or that far, and, you know, go into all the detail. But for now, it's just gonna be, yeah, she's got telekinesis, and then we'll see. All right. And you know what? I'm actually gonna share this with other people. So let's do that. Okay, and boom, there we go. So we have all the stats. We have all the experiences that she's known for, and or her critical core abilities that make her very unique. Yep, that was fast, and also much simpler than all of this shit, right? So let's try something else. I've been watching this Starstruck Odyssey, and I was kind of remaking the characters here. Starstruck Odyssey is one of the live play seasons on Dimension 20. I definitely recommend it. It's awesome fun. And they're actually using modded D&D to play this. So let's see if we can turn this into OtherSide. Let's try to remake Norman, okay? Very high dexterity. So let's put this one here. Low strength, even lower charisma. So I think that's going to be -1. Then what are the other things that he's good at? Intelligence, so it's kind of witty. Yep. And wisdom, yeah, that tracks. Constitution is high, so maybe, you know, just to represent that constitution, we're gonna buff the strength a little bit, because that's also constitution in this one. Cool could be possibly even better. In this case, yeah, I'm gonna go cool. To be honest, if I was creating Norman, I would even put cool as maximum, you know, cool as 2 and agility as 1, because I think his coolness was way more visible throughout this whole story. All right, what else do we have? Like, you know, he's the skipper, right? So any skippery piloting stuff, that's gonna be skipper/pilot. Spoiler alert. Norman is going to be brain slugged quite quickly, so having a brain slug would be, you know, something that would definitely need to be described as a card. So, you know, make it a mechanic. So let's just leave it for now. I have no better ideas. Maybe I could add something later. Let's go with Riva. A lot of wisdom, so she's witty. And she's charismatic. I think more charismatic than witty. She's low intelligence, but I think that's more like she had very little knowledge about the world. So let's do that. Reset everything else. Okay, we should pick 2 other high items. So actually she is kind of strength constitution. Maybe that. She didn't use that much really. I think kinda her coolness would be more visible, and perceptiveness, yeah. So I think those are the things that would really shine. And everything else can stay 0. Character feature is empathic. Yes, so definitely that. And telepathy for sure. Right, straight up, that's this. I would say she was like, you know, aquatic species. That could be a card, you know. Hey, why the hell not? Let's make a card for this. Aquatic species, water environment, swimming, can still survive. Let's use this as a counter, like, you know, you can maybe survive outside of water for 10 minutes or something. Let's do that for a moment. Okay, so aquatic species, and, you know, if she's in water, like, you could also describe, like, you know, hey, mark dot every time, you know, for every 5 minutes you spend outside water. And then, you know, after you fill your track, then you start losing health. That would work, yeah. And I remember she was also, like, you know, comms specialist. She was very good at that, so that could be like +1. Then later, if I remember something else that was specific about her, let's add it there. Let's try Barry now. Definitely strength. Yep, I got that one right. Agility. Yeah, lower wits and wisdom as well. So with actually she has some charisma. So let's make charisma instead of perception. That would fit him better, I think. Alright, so he's a soldier. He's like brawny. Ballistic approach. Like weapon specialist. Let's leave that, try someone else. Okay, Sandra Sidney. She actually is quite witty. So 2 over here, and extras, and strong. Okay. And then charisma is kind of average. Perception, I would say, you know what, I'm gonna give her luck. Yeah, she's gonna be lucky, because I like her. Okay, weapon expert, because that matters for her. That's gonna be 2, and she is an android, so let's do full metal body. That she has like 15 armor, so if she gets like 15 damage, that doesn't hurt her. But if more, then she will be losing durability and she will require repairs. Let's say 6 durability to get started with. And that sounds just about right. That's gonna be cool, right? Gunny. So with Gunny, let's say it's gonna be very high wits, right? And high intelligence and dexterous and charisma. And I guess cool. Maybe not. I would say, well, high constitution. That goes mostly, you know, so strength is kind of low, but also high. I would just leave it at standard. So let's put something else. I think he's knowledgeable about things, like he Googles stuff. So let's do that. And then he's a techie. So techie, fine, +2 for that. He has a cybernetic body. It does require to breathe, but otherwise it's very similar to Sandra Sidney. He needs repairs instead of healing. He's kind of also a gambler. They basically use D&D over there, right? But did you notice, like, they needed to fit a whole character on one page, so they just highlighted what really matters, the core stats and the special character feature, really, and everything else is somewhere there down behind. And this is what we have here. We just focus on what matters, like the core stuff, the core mechanics, and stats, and everything else is down behind. It's your flavor, right? So let's do that with other system. Okay, let's try Daggerheart. So in here, the stats are even simpler, like, you know, so strength stays. Yep, definitely high agility because finesse, right? Charisma, yep, and instinct. That I would go into perception and luck, really. It's Strength is obviously a dump stat on most of my characters, so sorry. See, and experiences I would like just copy straight up. Con artist and sleight of hand poisoner +1. There we go. She's also in furnace, so we could have like in furnace species. Yeah, let's do Infernus species. When you take a look at the species in Daggerheart, fearless humanoids, mark to stress to change it into roll with hope, that we don't need that. Dread visage, advantage to intimidate other creatures, yeah, we can include that. The species in Daggerheart are too simple, at least for me. I kind of like it better from D&D. You know, if you pick a tiefling, there's a lot of things that come with it, like night vision, fire resistance, horns, tails, all those things. And in this case, I would love to also, if you pick a card with a specific species, that should really matter and really change the gameplay for you. So that's why I'm gonna add more than what we have in Daggerheart. And that's the beauty of homebrewing your own system. You can do what you want, right? So that would be the Infernus. And what else we have here? There's this Tell No Lies, which I really like. And in Daggerheart, it says like, you know, spell cast roll against the creature. It has to be very close. And then, you know, someone can maybe even defend against it. I kind of, you know, if someone is using a spell and using the stress or / mana in order to do this, why do they also need to make a check in order to do this? I would rather maybe give the receiving end an ability to maybe defend against it. So instead of doing a check on, if you cast this as a spell, you just do this, and the creature that you're trying to affect may do a wit check to see if the spell takes. Otherwise, you know, you just unwillingly tell the truth, always. Right? And also, I don't like the caveats like, you know, maybe you will be able not to speak at all, to avoid speaking the truth. That kind of takes away from the fun. So I'm thinking if the spell takes, it really takes, and the people start speaking like without, you know, that mental block, and only after the spell ends they realize, oh my god, I shouldn't have done that, right? And I'm thinking that makes it way more useful and fun as well. Like it's really magic. So just a wit check to see if you fend off the magic power. Last 10 minutes costs 1 stress. Fine, great. And what else we had here? Oh, there was also this enrapture, so we can do that. Target must succeed on a cool check, otherwise become temporarily enraptured, fixing their attention on you. Costs 1 stress, lasts 1 hour. You know, it's kind of following the same, just simple defense check, and let's go, right? And you can just do that with all the cards that you think that apply. Also, if there's like, you know, rogues, dodge ability, cloak ability, sneak attack ability, all those could be cards if you want to. And then, you know, you don't need to make a class, you don't need to pick a class, which will later limit you with, you know, what spells you can take. I don't like that. So if you want a character that can do sneak attacks, just do sneak attack as a card. And then later on, if you want to use spells that are sorcerer, why the hell not? Use, you know, pick a card with the spell. whatever spell you want, and just somehow justify this narratively, if that how did that happen. Maybe you got blessed by something, and you shouldn't be limited. Okay, let's move on. Okay, let's try a vampire this time. So on the right we have vampire character sheet with disciplines, presence, all those statistics. Let's make it so that we have this in the new system. So again, strength, I chose this to be my dump stat. Okay, dexterity, yeah, a little bit, but more manipulation in this one, and intelligence, so I'd say wits would be his high stat. A little bit dexterity, but a little bit like resolve, which kind of falls into wits. I would say cool, that would also be good, yeah. And we could pick one more. Maybe percept or maybe charisma. I think the manipulation kind of goes into charisma this time around. Wits or charisma, depending on how you approach this. Alright, then let's see the skills. Crafting. So let's do crafting as his strong thing, and then very persuasion. Is very persuasive, and insight, that's gonna be also +1. He's also good at medicine, so medicine, let's put medicine +1, maybe then crafting just 1. Oh, there we go. And he has some awareness, investigation, so maybe instead of charisma it should be perception. It kind of depends how. I haven't played this character that much. So anyway, let's do vampire. I think I already tried that one. Yeah, there we go. So vampire, you need blood to survive, right? You can only clear stress by drinking blood, right? And every dusk when you wake up, you get 1 stress, which is kind of represented of hunger mechanic in VTM. So every morning you get hungrier, and then you can heal 1 HP with just 1 stress and take within 1 turn. So you can spend 1 stress to just heal. That's what vampires do. And then you drink more, right? You take damage from sunlight. That's also important. And I'd say, I even went so specific to write lose 1 HP every turn when exposed to sunlight. That should be nice. All right, but then we could also, work with those domination disciplines. So maybe something like cloud memory. Let's do that. So that's gonna be a spell, really. Cloud memory. So in a vampire, it works like you're uttering small phrase, and then dominated target needs to resist. So you roll charisma dominate, they roll wits resolve to resist this. So let's make again, I don't really that when you're spending your stress / mana on spell, it would like this to work, but then it's also important to have good stats for doing your spells. Costs 1 stress. Roll your, let's say, cool check versus target. Cool, that'll be cool, I think. Or maybe wit. Wit check. Target has fewer successes, because remember we are rolling dice pools, right? It forgets the last few minutes. Another way to do this would be so that only the target rolls the wit check. If they fail, they forget. Simple as that. Just that. And your character already spent time learning this spell, already spent stress using the magic power. So why does it also has to roll a success on a check? I would just go straight. Target rolls with check on a fail. It forgets the last few minutes and anything that happened then. Simpler, better, and I like it. Yeah. Okay, and we could go this way about anything. What other system we could also look into? Let's take Alien. So if we were to do some kind of equivalent of this character on the right? So there's like 2 strength, 2 agility, 2 wits, high empathy, maybe charisma, and also cool. And everything else is kind of low with this guy, so let's give him luck and maybe wits as well. There we go. Nice. And then let's see, high stamina here, mobility, ranged combat, so he can ranged combat, that can be good on him, and he's kinda like a pilot, so yeah, let's do that. And then like endurance training, so he trained, there we go. And medical, so yeah, medicine, or maybe first aid. He's good with that. And that's pretty it. Like, I haven't taken any talents into this alien, but aliens have like their talents that you can pick, so you can either make it an experience simply, that's like the fastest way. Maybe this guy is an android, or maybe just rephrase all this and describe an android like, hey, you have white oil instead of blood, and you can connect directly to computers and something like that. So it's, figure out what is it that you want to be able to do and just put it there. And then all those like air, power, food, water, all this, you can just maybe put in notes and just go with it and just straight up use scenarios written for Alien and just go. Let's try a better example of Joanne. So Joanne is a character I used in Mission Impossible scenario. So we kind of made this Skylock engine, which is based on Year Zero / Alien. We just did different specialities that were more fitting for spy story. So let's do that now. So Joanne, let's say low strength, high agility, high wits, and empathy for manipulation, because she was pretending to be other people. With agility, she really put some more skills in there. So let's do the agility as the highest stat. Then wits also quite high, but mostly for observation, so that will be perception, definitely. Empathy for manipulation, so that's gonna be lying and pretending, so that's something in between charisma and cool. Sorry, that should be 2. And yep, straight up, it's there, right? So high speed, high initiative, but that fits her. Then we had, so with the experiences, I guess close combat. So that's definitely, I think I used my martial arts before, so that definitely fits. And then let's say some maybe pilot, and that was be like, you know, driving. Yep. And escape and evade. I like those. Really good. Assumed personas, like, you know, pretending to be someone else. That would be great. And then there's like, sorry for Polish language, ability to neutralize target, quick takedowns. So I could pretty much translate those cards 1-to-1. Let's do that, like an ability, quick takedowns when trying to incapacitate target, well, without killing. You get bonus dice, and in the size of 2. The enemy must be surprised, because that was specific to this card. I would actually prefer this to be without it, but you know, if you want to make an equivalent, let's do that. Strength or agility. This bonus plus any martial ability experiences check. If you succeed, your target is incapacitated. Yep, it's kind of like, you know, front forward, but later on you can think about maybe there should be like a defense roll instead. It kind of depends, you know, how you want to approach this, but I like this. Let's do that. False identity, maybe that should be a card, or maybe that's just actually a story, part of the story. Doesn't have to be a card. No, it doesn't. There was like sleight of hand. I think that would be like over here, sleight of hand for pickpocketing. And then there was like +2 to sneaking and tough. You know, tough definitely, that should be a card because it modifies the total HP, right? So more HP that way, and pretty much anything you have in the card you could just copy almost like, you know, 1-to-1 into the system and just keep rolling. Let's do some combat now. It's gonna be interesting. Let's put some people that are attacking here. Maybe this one will just break. It's charging. All right, so let's jump into combat, right? So let's say for this fun example, we're gonna take Norman on team A and Barry. Let's roll there. Okay, so Norman has 2 initiative, so rolling 2 dice. He got 1 success, 1 action there. Let's do Barry, 1 action. Sandra Sydney. She actually could have got 3 successes, but only got 1. Well, shit happens, right? On team B, we're gonna have Aurora Nebbins. And we're gonna have, let's say, this big bot here and Miss Jade. There we go. Also nothing. So starting with Norman. Norman should have some kind of gun, so let's give him something. Let's do 1d8 plus 2 fire. That's the gun. Alright. Then Norman grabs the gun. Assault rifle for Barry. Norman kinda used his action to grab a gun. Next. Barry also grabbed the gun. Next. Sandra Sydney will just move forward over there. Okay, then I go and Aurora Nevins, she's just gonna have like a bite attack, so she's got let's see, 6 speed of 6, so she can go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, she can get close, but not enough actions to do anything, and then security bots have nothing. There we go. Norman takes his action, so he will shoot the energy gun. Roll 6 on his first dice, so that's a hit, and that's all 8 damage. And oh yeah, right, so damage and losing HP, that's something I should have explained earlier. So with the weapons we want some variety, right? So rolling 2d10, 3d6, d20, something like that. And you know, the bigger, if you use the rules from Nimble, the bigger die you use, the more chances you have to hit, right? With a small die, the chances to miss are much bigger. Right, but then bigger die also means more damage, unless you know you could like have like 3d6 damage. That means small die, high chance to miss, but then there's 3 of them, so there will be more damage, right? But in this case, coming back here, so we rolled 8, and we don't, those numbers are quite high. Like you will be rolling 8 damage, 12, 25, you know, similar to Dungeons and Dragons, right? But we don't want to have 75 HP, and we don't want to, you know, go through all this. So how do we convert one into another? And my first idea is to just count the number of 10s. So 10 and less is 1 HP, 20 and less is 2 HP, 30 and less is 3 HP, and so on. Just simple as that. So in this case, if Norman hit Aurora Nebbins for 8 damage, that's 1 HP, that's why she had this. Okay, she drops down to 11 because she has like 3 strength. She's buffy, she can take a lot of damage in, right? That was his first action. Okay, he can just keep shooting, because why not? So let's keep shooting. Yeah, that drops now to 10, and it's like a BB gun. So let's roll a third time. And I know in Nimble, like every second attack has disadvantage, and the more disadvantage, the more times you attack. I'm just skipping this for now. You wanna attack, you attack, and just keep going. So Norman spent all his turn shooting. Barry can actually move over here. So that's gonna be 1 action. Then he can kick off Aurora Nebbins so that he just wants to shove her, right? So for that we can say, hey, let him roll strength check. So he will roll 3 dice because he has +2. He got 2 successes on that one. Very well. Let's see how Aurora Nebbins, but she's very strong. one success only, right? So Barry got 2, she got 1. So he succeeds and then pushes her, let's say 2 squares down the road, like huge kick. Okay, that worked. And now he takes the gun and shoots her too. So let's roll with the gun. There we go. 15, that's 2 HP down. And she's pretty hurt at this point. All right, next we go Sandra Sydney, which she would like probably to get around this whole thing because she doesn't want to fight around Nebbins. Maybe let's go around 1, 2. How much speed does she have? 6. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's one action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's another one. And she's sprinting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She's right next to the door, so she will jump at them. So Aurora Nebbins then needs to spend the whole turn, whole action to get close again, and then she can just start slicing and dicing. And that's 1d6 plus strength d6. With her, it's like 3 strength, so that's gonna be 4d6s running. There we go. 16 damage to Barry. So that's 2 HP. All right. And that was an attack. I guess she's gonna bite again. So keep biting. Ooh, that's a bigger one. 22. So that's like 3 damage already. 3 more damage. She's gonna put him into berserk mode quite quickly. All right, but then let's see. We also have this security bot, which will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How much speed? Oh, he only has 5. So one action to get there, another action to get over there, and now he can try to attack Barry as well. 14 damage, so that's 2 HP. And yeah, Barry really got smacked this turn. And then later when I watched this, I realized Barry could have done a lot of things, spent his actions to defend, to parry, to try to dodge all those attacks, but I haven't thought about it back then. Tough luck for him. Let's move on. So then we go to Jade, and Jade is also the one that would be, I'm so sneaky, I will just get around this whole thing and attack them from behind. Same as Sydney, so she'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, get over there, open the door, see Sandra Sydney sprinting towards her, so she will just immediately like shoot. That's gonna be 3, so minor damage. Okay, Sandra Sydney, you're getting a health down, and she can and the next one, you know what, she's gonna brawl, because why not? That's maybe not a good choice. 6, so that's still 1 damage to Sandra Sydney. I'm thinking about implementing this exploding dice, so if you roll maximum, you should, that's what Nimble says. Maybe I'll add this to here too. So in this case, it would be like an additional die. After that 6, and there's 2, so that's gonna be still 8, still within 10. So that's still just 1 HP. All right, then we go to Norman again. Norman stays here. He sees like all these things just jump over Barry and just grabbing, shooting. So he's probably gonna, I'm gonna run away. But no, he just keeps shooting. So Shooting the gun at Aurora. 1 action. 2nd action. Still shooting. Alright, and he's like, boom, 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 boom. Okay, all 3 actions spent by shooting, like a lot of bullet holes or whatever he's shooting, really. Now Barry. Would Barry like to strength or just shoot? It's kind of gonna be easier with fighting than shooting, so I guess he will just wrestle Aurora Nebbins there. And that was a good choice. That's 2. Oh no, that's a miss because the first die has a 1. Oh, tough luck. So he'll try to do that again, and she just probably that's gonna be like, yeah, Aurora Nebbins is so beat up now. Okay, 1 more. And yeah, okay, those ones were the other day. So that's 8 damage. Yep, all 3 actions spent. Sandra Sydney, so she will probably just running so fast. She will just get into Jade and, you know, roll over her, like push her away. That's gonna be like, let's make it an opposing strength check. Roll strength. That's gonna be 3 dice. You know what? I'm gonna check that later. Let's keep rolling. So that's 2 successes. And then let's do Jade. Oh, maybe it's rolling 2 dice as a base. That should be 1 die. That'll matter way more. Anyway, that's a fail. So Sandra Sydney goes into her and then bumps the Jade away. So she's like, ooh, going there, and she's probably gonna hit her back or something. 1 HP down. That was first action on Sandra Sydney. Then she's going to just wrestle. Yeah, that's okay. And let's keep going because she didn't take any weapons this time around. There. Okay, all actions spent. Going back to Aurora Nebbins. Now this is gonna be dicey now because Aurora Nebbins is an animal. She just keeps biting. And she missed. Ha! Maybe Barry is going to survive this. And then it's 2 damage to Barry. So Barry gets 2 more HP, and I guess he goes into this berserk mode. He can use stress to sustain more damage even. So let's do that. Last action on Aurora. 9 damage. So this time around we're gonna open Barry's cards. He's gonna take stress instead of that HP. And he's like, whoa, I'm in the zone now. Alright, so then the security bot comes in and that's gonna do this as well. 14 damage. They're gonna wear him out. Okay. But then let's do this one more. Actually, it's kind of very difficult to fit in here. I'm gonna roll agility. Okay, he did succeed, so let him attack one more time. 13 damage. Alright, Barry is tanking today. Okay, more stress. Then Jade. Okay, so Jade will actually do the gun thing, so she will just pew pew pew. Alright, Sandra Sydney takes 8 damage. That's 1 HP. And let's keep rolling this. Okay, that's 10 damage, 1 HP, and 8 damage, 1 HP. So that's 3 HP back, and 2. 3 HP down. She's actually quite hurt. Oh, but then I completely forgot about this full metal body thing. Roll back. Oh wait, so she has armor 15, right? So in Nimble you can spend an action to just use your armor to reduce the damage. So Sandra Sydney would spend one action to reduce the first damage, and you can only do that once in Nimble, but I would say why limit? So I would say let her spend all her actions to just get out of dodge here, so not losing 3 HP because every time it was less than 15, right? So she just spent all her actions, but she didn't get hurt. That makes sense. Jade spent all her actions shooting, and now she sees like she's not doing anything with that BB gun. So she will need to have a new plan. Now Norman is doing things with his gun, so he will just continue doing so because he sees like it's almost there. One more shot. Excellent. Now he drops down around Nebbins and still has one more action, so he can also shoot the bot. But the bot is also, that's a big chunky security bot. It's not gonna be that easy to take down. So those were all the actions. Now Barry, what would you do? My Barry will step out here, or maybe here. Yeah, that's gonna be first action. Then he's gonna go, let's just fall back, it's too hard. So that's 10 damage. Oh crap, I think he should be doing more with that assault rifle, but he's not. Things are bouncing off this guy. All right, so yeah, with the Norman, 3 actions back. Sandra Sydney, now you're doing quite fine, but she used all her actions to defend, so she will just not do anything yet. Aurora is dead, or maybe incapacitated, so she just lies down, not doing anything. This security bot will just, I'm going forward, I will kill you all. So that's one action. He will then bump into Norman, but misses. Okay, and let's try that again. That's gonna be 12 damage, so that means 2 HP for Norman. Oh, but he hasn't been hit yet, so I guess he will be running away next. All right, then we go into Jade. Now Jade sees like, I'm not doing shit with against that robot, so she will just spend her action. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She just goes for the big guys. Oh sorry, she only had 5 speed. Keep running. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, my Aurora Nebbins is kinda fucked up. She'll get as close as she can over here. She will attempt to heal her, maybe next time. But Norman, in the meantime, he'll take some distance. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that's one action. And keep shooting with the Pee-wee gun, but it kind of makes sense after a while. Those were 2 actions. Barry will just also retreat to 3, 4. Let's do here. He can barely shoot through with that angle, but let's say he still can. So 1 shot and 1 more. Ooh, damn, that was almost really good. Okay. So that's those actions on Barry. Sandra Sydney. What is Sydney going to do? She can hear that Norman and Barry are in trouble. So maybe she will actually go all the way back. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So she can get over here. And she will. Damn, that's just one too far in order to reach Barry. And or maybe she will just like throw him a healing potion or something, like a stimulant something. Stim pack. Let's do that. Let's say she had one. She will just throw it to Barry. Use this, man. Aurora is still down. Security bot still charging. 1, 2. And he will now start knocking Norman around. That's 2 damage on Norman. Norman has like no armor or anything, so he just takes that. Third. Okay, still 2 damage. That's. Now he's in a bad shape. And Jade is going to use like maybe 2 actions to heal Aurora Nevins a little bit. So yeah, but she's okay. So Aurora Nevins is like frontline damager for her, and she tried shooting Sandra Sydney, and that didn't work. So I think she will decide to. Let's retreat. 1, 2, 3, 4, and she will just start running away. Then Norman will just. Oh no! That's too much for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's his action. He can shoot from afar. Yep. And third action. Shoot. Okay, those are all now Barry. Barry will use 1 action to pick up the stim pack. Right. And let's say the stim pack does 1d4. Okay. And let's use that. So Barry will grab this. That's 1 action. Then he will use it. Rolls 1d4. Rolls 1, so he only gets 1 HP back, but that's still something. And the third action of Barry will be, oh no, I'm gonna just waste you, man. And he's going to maybe, brawl, because now I'm empowered. So, how much? Oh my god, that was so close. I thought he will just kill the bot. That didn't work. The bot is still up. Barry can drop the gun. That's a free action. He'll just let it down. So Sandra Sydney, on her turn, she steps in. She grabs the gun. And she will shoot the gun on the bot to finally take it down. Oh yeah, that makes sense. All right. Oh boy, this took way longer than I thought, but it was so much fun, as you can see on this map. Like, oh my god, so many bullet holes. Anyway, so that's how this looks like in practice. There's probably way more things you can do. You can just, dodge, I forgot the parry, riposte, interpose, defend. You can, use spells, all other things, but it's always, it costs an action to do something. And that's it. So I'm thinking I'm ready to play test this with more people. So I'll be looking for volunteers. Yeah, you want to try it out? Let me know. Write to me on Discord, and yeah, we'll get together and play. This video became so much longer than I thought it would be. So thanks for watching. If you've kept rolling till now, I really appreciate it, and I hope you had fun, as much fun as I did. Yeah, if you want to use it, go to Oracle Tabletop and just use the currently implemented version of our OtherSide system. There's actually two here. So the previous version OtherSide, that was based on rolling 2d6, but this new version 3e is using the dice pool like I described today. So this is probably the one you want to pick up. So that's it for today. Thank you. Have fun playing with it.